Straight ahead on Folks, a look at Project Delta at Park Elementary School in Baton Rouge. Project Delta helps children at risk make better grades and succeed in school. Also, a profile of the legendary Allen Toussaint of New Orleans. We'll meet the man behind the music and attend one of his rare public performances. That's all coming up next on Folks. Hello everyone and welcome to Folks. I'm Sonya Masingale. For the past few weeks we've been exploring programs that take a hands-on approach to solving community problems. That's what today's lead story is all about. About a year ago, the State Board of Education took some strong measures to help improve the quality of education in Louisiana. One of the moves involves mandatory testing to make sure that Louisiana students meet a minimum standard of achievement measured by standardized tests. Now, later on today, we'll talk to an official from the East Baton Rouge School Board who will tell us how students in the Baton Rouge area are measuring up. But first, we'll take a look at Project Delta, a sorority-sponsored program in place at Park Elementary School in Baton Rouge. Project Delta is taking a hands-on approach to helping elementary school children make the grade and pass the tests.
4, 8, 32, very good.
The students in Mr. Culpepper's 5th grade class have a better chance of passing 5th grade math and science than many children in inner-city schools. They are participants in Project Delta, a program funded by federal grant that supplies support services and tutoring in the classroom. Park Elementary has a specialized program already in place for students with attention deficit disorder. They are finding that Project Delta is helping the other students because the methods of the program go well with the teaching methods already in use at the school.
Our philosophy for the past few years has been to teach using a multi-sensory approach, a hands-on approach to instruction. And like you saw on my desk, our motto is, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. And we feel that by being actively working with whatever it is, math or science, a hands-on inquiry approach using all of our senses, seeing, touching, hearing, and being really involved in doing, the children learn better and they retain that information better if they're really actively involved.
In the short time that you've had Project Delta in place, have you seen a measurable change in the students that have been tutored through the program?
You can see a difference in attitude to feeling more responsible for doing well academically. Parents having more of an interest in their children and how well they're doing, the importance of school. Those are some attitudes that have changed. Also academically, they have made some progress. We have always found that the children do better at the lower grades, and when they get into the 4th and 5th grade, their attitude changes about school. They don't take it as seriously, and it doesn't have as much of a value to them. So they need all the extra support that they can get from everyone in order to keep them motivated and interested, and keeping them on task and interested in school, because this is where it really tells whether they're going to continue with their education or are they not going to take this seriously. Our goals are the same. We want to see the children perform better academically and do better on the state tests so that they can progress and go from one grade to the next. Our goals are the same in that we feel that if we work with the parents and we work with the children in meeting their individual needs, each child has a different need, and if we work with each individual child, then we can get that child to perform to the best of his ability. And we all use the same, we have all worked together long enough to have the same philosophy that if we work using a hands-on approach, working individually with children, using all the instructional materials that are available today, the best instructional materials like computers, and in science, using experimental inquiry approach to teaching, that the children will understand the concepts and learn them, they'll internalize them.
Project Delta is based on the premise that before academic gains are realized, there must be in place both parental and community efforts, which have a profound effect on academic achievement. That means before you can see gains, academic gains in students, there must be a support system, and that support system has to be the parents and the community alike.
At this early date, how can you tell that Project Delta has been effective?
Based on data that we used last year, CAT test scores indicated a growth in reading and math. So we have seen an improvement in students' test-taking skills. Absences has decreased. Discipline problems have also decreased or declined, and we are in fact getting more parental involvement, as well as community involvement, who sponsored the last activity of the program last year.
Teacher aides from Project Delta are in the classroom with the children all day, but their duties don't stop there. Once a student has been identified as needing extra help, he gets that help after school.
First of all, students cannot be a discipline problem. Second of all, there's test results from CAT test scores or other standardized test scores have to indicate a need or a deficiency in reading and math. Third, they have to live in the immediate vicinity of the school, and that Project Delta provides transportation for those students participating in the tutoring sessions.
In the tutoring processes, they use games and different puzzles, in those areas like math and reading. In those areas, they also use the computers with the different skills that they're weak in. And they also test them with different skills and different worksheets to see if they have mastered the skills in reading and math.
Although Project Delta has only been in place for 3 years and is limited to following one class, they're seeing some very positive results. There were only 3 fourth graders who did not go on to 5th grade this year. In the past, there have been as many as 10.
It is the intent of the program originally to start monitoring kids from 3rd grade level until they complete their elementary education. Hopefully next year, if we're funded, we will again start at the 3rd grade level and monitor the progress of those students until they finish the 5th grade.
Coming to the end of the 3-year cycle, what have you learned that will help you with the next 3-year cycle?
It's necessary for us to be consistent in all areas, with the students, with the parents, and the community. I think as long as we are planning and doing something on a consistent basis, you keep their attention. As soon as you slack up, they're not interested, or other things become more important. As long as parents and the community see that you're sincere about what you're doing, eventually you'll gain their support.
Joining me in the studio today is Dr. Donald Hoover from the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and Mrs. Geraldine Brown, the founder of Project Delta. Welcome to folks, or perhaps I should say the founder of, or the member of the founding committee, since you are with the sorority that started Delta Sigma Theta. I'd like to start today with Dr. Hoover. You're here to give us an overall view or some perspective on the standardized testing in the elementary schools in East Baton Rouge Parish. How are we stacking up on the national scene?
Well, with our normed reference testing, we do fall behind the norm. It is a pattern that exists statewide, but we are falling behind the norm. We have some schools that seem to go beyond that, other schools that do not. But we are advancing on the norm. Each year we give the test, we do advance on the norm, on the average parish-wide. Some schools seem to make greater jumps on the norm than others. We're trying very hard within the framework of the school system itself to address the specific areas of deficiencies that the tests identify. But this is a huge problem, and it involves expectations, it involves community, You heard Ms. Patereau talk about the attitudes of the children and how the expectancies of the parents and of the children do impact achievement, and that's certainly very true. And that's why this is such an exciting program, is that the community is involved in the solution as well.
Just getting back to testing for just a moment, just what do these tests tell us in terms of what we're actually doing in the classroom?
Well, basically, they will tell us what specific skills our youngsters seem to excel in and what particular skills they're deficient in. And that provides for us information that we can use to develop strategies to correct the deficiencies. It's important, I think, that the solution not be a matter of constant recycling of information, but that the information come alive for the child. And many of the things that you saw, for example, in the program dealt with just specifically that, getting the youngsters and the parents involved in what's happening with their youngster, hands-on kinds of experiences.
Mrs. Brown, you are the chairperson of the Educational Development Committee of the Baton Rouge Sigma chapter, Baton Rouge Delta chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. I'm Baton Rouge Sigma, that's why I made the mistake. And this program is more or less an endeavor for you that began many, many years ago. Could you tell us why you chose Park Elementary to pilot the program, and how did you get started?
Well, I suspect that Park was chosen basically because many of the members of the committee worked at Park, and Park is very, very dear to us. Of course, it was many years ago when we worked there. I had a similar program at Capitol when I served as principal there, and we knew that it would work. The idea of having children really score well, perform well in classroom first of all, and then to perform well on tests, we knew could be done. And because Park was so very, very close to our hearts, we chose Park. It was really at the time when Sylvia Sanders was guidance counselor there, and some of the teachers who are members of the committee were working at that time and saw the need for. They also realized that the problems seemed to crop up mostly at the third grade level. That's why we started at the third grade.
Okay, so now the actual hands-on involvement begins in third grade. You're coming to the end of your first cycle. In other words, this class that's in the fifth grade that will be going on to sixth grade somewhere else has had your loving attention for 3 years.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, what kinds of differences are you all seeing in these students that have been with you since the third grade?
The difference, basically, as I see it, is in social skills, and we thought that that was one of the things that we had to get out of the way before we got into the academic area. We had to help children to understand better how to get along with each other, what school excuse me, is really about, and the need for doing the best that they possibly could at all times. Then we moved into the academic area. Now let me back up a little bit. Our first year when they were in third grade, when the children were in third grade, it was on a volunteer basis that sorority members worked with the children. Many of us worked and did not have the adequate time to give to the children that they really needed. And it was just through casual conversation and brainstorming that we came about getting the 8G funding.
Dr. Hoover mentioned earlier that the reason why this program is so exciting is because it offers a community solution to an institutional problem. Dr. Hoover, do you see this type of program catching on, say, in the rest of the state, getting more people involved, perhaps getting federal grant dollars for private organizations to go in and to help our teachers in the classroom?
Yes, indeed. In fact, that's the purpose of these 8G proposals and programs that are exemplary in nature. And we're looking with great interest at what's happening. There are similar kinds of programs taking place, as Jerry indicated, on a volunteer basis, and those are helpful. But to have a concentrated effort like this from the community is unique, and I anticipate that it will produce the kind of results that Jerry anticipates.
Well, I thank you both for coming, and I'm excited and thrilled about Project Delta. We'll be keeping up with your progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now on to the next portion of our program. Allen Toussaint is well known in music circles around the world. He has composed and performed many of the popular songs on the airwaves since 1958, and he's still going strong. One of the most fascinating things about his music is that it defies a standard definition. Toussaint has written country, jazz, R&B, rock and roll, and blues. You might say that he personified the word crossover before the phrase was even invented. Whatever you call it, the music of Allen Toussaint makes everybody feel good. Today, we'd like for you to meet the man behind the music.
All right, everybody. Let's all put our hands together and welcome to the stage, Mr. Allen Toussaint!
Allen Toussaint only performs in public for rare and special occasions, so this audience at the International Festival in Lafayette, Louisiana knew they were in for a treat. You don't perform in public very often these days, yet you did perform with a band at the Festival International de Louisiane in Lafayette. Why was that important to you?
The mere invitation of that was quite an honor, to invite me to be a part of that festival. It was a grand affair, and I am one who, in this day and age, is making music, and for me to be invited to something like that, I wouldn't dare miss it. It was one of the, I would say, highlights of performances to perform for such an occasion.
You got to wake up early in the morning. You got to stay up all night long. You still won't catch up, 'cause I got you warning. I got the feeling you wanna do me wrong.
It was love at the first sight of a piano. That's what first turned me on to music, the piano itself. I remember the evening, the night it was brought to my house. It was an old upright, given to my family by an aunt of mine. It was given to my family for my sister to play. But as soon as they rolled it in the house, I got to it immediately and began just getting the sound of it. I didn't jump on it and play anything recognizable, but I enjoyed the feel of the first touch of it, and I began playing every day and mimicking sounds that I heard from here and there.
You dropped out of high school to perform music. How did your family react to that?
My father took it worse than my mother. I mean, they didn't really confront me personally with it, but I could tell that there was a bad feeling about me leaving school. But I think they understood. But I think all parents would like for kids to finish school, even without any other reason, just that it's the right thing to do, even without knowing what it means. Even myself nowadays, I feel that way.
What inspires you to write the music?
Well, I think many songs come from life experiences, not necessarily my own, but as I view the experiences of others as much as I can know about others. That's where much of, most of my songs, if not all of them, and I say not from my own because I know that there are many writers that say that their songs come from their own life experiences. I've never worked in a coal mine, and I wrote Working in a Coal Mine, Going Down, Down. I've never seen a coal mine except on television, and I never was drawn closely to it, but for some reason, when writing for Lee Dorsey, all kinds of ideas would come to me that wouldn't come if I was writing for someone else at that moment.
My water and soul dabbing, so good to start your toes tapping. Cause when it comes to cooking, we got the best. With some Louisiana hot stuff, no one eats better than us. Start with that filet gumbo, then the rest. A Yankee saw a crawfish, call it a baby lobster. We laughed so hard we couldn't stop it all night. Head sucking, tail pinching, and jambalaya. We laughed so hard we couldn't stop it all night.
There's something that I write when I sign autographs sometime. I sign life, love, and faith. And under faith, I put 2 or 3 lines and an exclamation point behind it. I think that if I had one thing to say, one sentence to make, and only had one, I think I could live with that: life, love, and faith.
For Allen Toussaint, the hits keep coming. He's working on a new album, his first solo album in many years.
And it feels good. It has direction, and I say that because I've written many times without direction for myself. By me liking such a wide variety of music, when I write, sometimes it's all unrelated to each other, so it doesn't form one unit. It just so happened that this album is a unit. It all fits in together like a nice, it's a body of work that seemed to belong together, and I feel good about that. My favorite song on it is Who's Mine in the Store? And I feel very strongly about that statement.
Yes, for Professor Longhair, Who's Mine in the Store? This is a new song. Sometimes we wonder, as we go through life looking for everything, we don't know who we leave at home. Mine in the store. Who's mine in the store? Who's mine in the store? Does anyone know who's mine in the store? Who's raising the children, showing them the way? Does anyone know who's mine in the store? Mama and Papa, I'm in the corporate ladder. Money and power is all that matters. But they'd have a fit and be all in your face rather than admit, oh, this is the case. Who cares? They care if you got the money. You can drop off your little brats of honey, but pick them up when your day is through, so they can have, Lord, what's left of you. It's justified in your mind. You're working for the finest thing that money can buy. See, our nation changed its form. It's full of pretty houses, but nobody's home. Who's mine in the store? Who's mine in the store? Does anyone know who's mine in the store? Who's raising the children, showing them the way? Does anyone know who's mine in the store? Don't be caught up in out of line, out of line, out of line. Don't be caught up in out of line, out of line, out of line. foxhole I can hardly see. Now there's a woman lying next to me. She's here, I'm here, in this open grave. What are we fighting for? Who's left on the scene? They took a vow, they said I do. Where is he now? Out there in the zoo. Call of the wild, he had to have his space. Mother and child, another legal case. Who's mine in the store? Who's mine in the store? Does anyone know who's mine in the store? Who's raising the children, showing them the way? Does anyone know who's mine in the store? Who's mine in the store? Caught up. Thank you.
We close today's program with Allen Toussaint's and my own personal favorite, Southern Nights. See you next week. Bye-bye.
We had a lot more planned, but the time ran out on us. We're sorry. We'll see you next time. It's been indeed a pleasure. A song I wrote for Glenn Campbell. Southern night. Have you ever felt the southern night? Free as a breeze, not to mention the trees. Whistling tunes that you know and love so well. Southern skies, just as good even when close your eyes. I apologize to anyone who can truly say he has found a better way. Oh yes now. Wished I could stop this world from fighting. La da da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. Southern sky, have you ever noticed southern sky? Its precious beauty lies deep beyond the eye. Goes rushing through your soul like the story stole a bow. Oh man, he and his dog, they walked the whole land. Every flower touched his cold hand. As he slowly walked by, the weeping willow would cry for joy. They would cry for joy. History, like this and many others in the tree, but they all glow in the night, in the southern sky, in the southern sky.